Hello everyone, I'm Nightmare Nemo and welcome to Scary Town, the Goosebumps and Fear Street Review show. This week we're going back to Horrorland with Heads You Lose. And there's a horror dressed as a magician, and that's pretty much an ongoing theme with the second arc of Horrorland. And yeah, this is the second arc of Horrorland, so it's a completely different story. It's still all tied up with Horrorland and the beginning and the epilogue of the story, and eventually it's going to lead up into a standalone book where it's going to tie up all that's been happening and leading up with these books. So our protagonists are Jessica and Ryan. Jessica's father is a magician, and not like, he actually uses magic, but he performs like illusions and stuff for birthday parties and for kids and stuff. So they both know how to throw their voices like ventriloquists, which is pretty cool. This story it kind of reminds me of similar stories like Gulliver's Travels, Alice in Wonderland, even like Army of Darkness, in that basically what happens is they go into Jonathan Chiller's shop and they have this trick coin which has a head on each side of the coin, so you can never lose a bet, and then they kind of use that to the advantage. Except one day while they're using it to win a bet from a bully to get him to leave them alone, they toss the coin, but it is falling, rolling away actually, and they both reach out with their hands and grab it at the same time, and then they have this weird sensation that they're flipping around, the world's flipping, and then they find themselves in a totally different place, and it's actually this medieval setting. And basically the story is there's the king of this kingdom has lost his head, like literally, like he's practiced magic, so somehow he's still alive and he's just has no head. Through some misadventures and whatnot and some misunderstandings, they want to help the king get his head back. Basically, like the king knows magic, so they're thinking the king will help us get back home. And so they go on this whole adventure. They're thrown in a dungeon and all kinds of stuff. They meet some crazy characters because it's very weird for them to be in this time. They're not really used to everything, and people look at them look like they're a bunch of weirdos because they dress differently and stuff. And basically there's these assassins who are the ones that are responsible for cutting off the king's head. And so the story progresses where they find out who it is, and it's this big twist and whatnot. And like I say, it's very similar to a lot of other stories and movies where present day kids or anybody else are put into a completely different time era, or like a completely different world, fantasy setting, and they're just trying to figure out a way back home. And that's basically it. I like the idea that the kids are able to throw their voices, because they actually use that combined with the two-sided coin in order to get themselves out of trouble, which is a very nice addition to the story. Adds another level of depth to it. But it's I mean, if you're familiar with a lot of other stories that are similar to this one doesn't really do anything all that much different as far as that. And as a Goosebumps story, though, I guess it really stands out because there's not many Goosebumps stories that are set in a medieval setting, and it is very strange in that. So it's definitely worth checking out, I would think, if you're looking for a Goosebumps book that is, you know, something that offers something different than the norm. And it's definitely worth checking out. And it's a pretty solid story. It's it's very it's very enthralling to see what happens with the kids, and because they're in this pretty tight situation where they're trapped in a place and a time that they're not familiar with, and they're just like really having to act on their feet and figure things out in order to get out of these scary situations. All right, so as far as my overall thoughts about the book, there really is no negatives I can think of the book, unless I want to be like nitpicking and stuff. But maybe the cover is a little bit misleading. Kind of, it looks like the king without his head is like transparent like a ghost, and he's not like that in the actual story. So I guess that's something that's I didn't really like, but really that's just really nitpicking. It's a pretty solid story. It's unique, and I guess if you're expecting, you know, something more horrific and something with supernatural elements in it, you might be disappointed. But it's definitely a strong book in the second arc of the Goosebumps Horrorland. It was definitely something I was looking at, and just the cover and the title was just like, what is this all about? So it was very intriguing. So definitely worth checking out. So that's all I have for you guys this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review, and just let me know if you have read this and any other Goosebumps books you guys want me to cover that I haven't already covered. And until then, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.